Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second ever episode of the Inside Sports Podcast. That is with the DE capitalized because this is a daily Egyptian production. I am the assistant sports editor, Cole Daly, and this is my co-host.
I'm Joey Bernard. I'm the sports editor over at the DE.
That's right. We might as well catch you up with Dogs at the Vet. Let's do a little check-in. The women's soccer team is coming off of a tie against Drake on Sunday. That was an awesome game. We were down big time after the first half, and then we somehow rallied back to make it a draw, so we're still keeping that undefeated streak alive. Granted, with ties in there, but still, it's better than losses that we've experienced the past 2 years.
Really big comeback with like 8 minutes left of the game. No hope for the Salukis, and all of a sudden they just found it with 2 goals. I think it was Sam Dodd and Paris Walsh were the ones that come up with the clutch goals. Got that tie, continues the undefeated streak, so that was great.
Yeah, speaking of Sam Dodd, we'll actually be talking to her and Sam DeJulio later in our show in the Saluki Space segment, so be sure to check that out. Their team currently sits at 3-2-2, and they travel next week. Was it Sunday against Belmont?
Sunday against Belmont. It'll be their first game against them since they moved into the conference as they start game 2, I believe, of the conference schedule. So that'll be pretty interesting to see. We hope that they get their first conference win ever in school history.
That's actually true.
That'll be really monumental if they can get that. And I think they have a good chance against a new Belmont team in the conference. So we'll be excited to look after that. But,
so how's volleyball doing?
Great. They just had, they hosted the Saluki Invitational. They took 2 out of 3. They sit at 7-5 right now. That's more than they had last year. When
it was something like 5-26. It's 5 in the 20 range.
They only earned about 5 wins last year, so I'm just excited that they already have more wins than the season before. But they're going to open up their conference play just like soccer over at Murray State on Friday. And I'm just extremely impressed by a lot of the newcomers. I think the story 2 weeks ago on the last podcast was kind of the same thing, but we're seeing even more from them. They're getting even more starting time. Some of the big names that I'm seeing are Claudia Bob, Brinley Burdett, Cece Ballman, and then this most recent tournament, Kelly Franklin was getting a lot of time, and she was impressed. And they're all freshmen, and they just look amazing. I'm just excited for the future of volleyball, and just want to see where they go with the conference schedule. But like I said, they've already surpassed the total wins. That's amazing, really great accomplishment. They could have swept that tournament though. They had Bellarmine on the game set, on the game point, I should say, in set 3, and a couple errors kind of extended it to set 4, and then Bellarmine all of a sudden took set 4, and then all of a sudden it's 2-2. Bellarmine took set 5, and then what do you know? They dropped the third game of that tournament. So
that's kind of what they struggled with last year. If you watched and you covered a lot of the games, like me and you both did. I know they had like a kind of a problem with really closing people out. So they've definitely done a better job of that this year. But they'll have to make sure to minimize that mistakes. But granted, still, I mean, it looks like things are really on the up and up for them this year, and that's something to be excited about, Saluki fans. Yeah. SIU football just beat Northwestern last week. Kind of a surprise, granted that we were sitting at 0-2 to other FCS schools before that, but Nick Hill clearly owns the Big Ten. He beats them as a coach in 2022, and then he beats them as a quarterback when we played Indiana back in 2006. That's our only 2 FBS wins, right? That's
for sure. First time since 2006 that they've gotten a Big Ten win, and that's amazing for Saluki land right now. Everything's looking up for football.
Right, Northwestern's a very quality team. I mean, Arizona beat number 1 ranked North Dakota State last week. Gotta think we're better than. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, we're a long way to go from that. But now we're back to ranked, which feels good, especially after that disappointing SEMO loss. We're sitting at number 24, and something that's really important to point out is just first, Nick Baker really, really showing out.
Conference Player of the Week.
Our offense looked great. It looked incredible. Nick was making the right decision almost 100% of the time. And then, our defense was incredible. If we would have had that defense in either our first 2 games, I don't know where we'd be sitting at right now. But it's a positive sign for Saluki fans because now we can look and we can say, we have something here. After a loss to SEMO, which we were favored heavily in, Incarnate Word we were favored in. I mean, to get this win versus Northwestern, hopefully will definitely just give us some momentum going forward. That would really be great.
Without a doubt. I mean, that defense was just creating turnovers all day. They're getting sacks. I got here 4 turnovers created. I know they had 2 more even, but Northwestern recovered the ball, I believe, off two other fumbles.
One of them was maybe like a flag or something like that.
But that could have been 6 even, and 3 sacks, 6 tackles for losses. They did enough to keep Northwestern at bay and then let Baker do his thing by protecting him. I mean, I think there's a simple formula there for SIU to win games, and that's protect Baker and then create those turnovers. I mean, that does it for a lot of teams, but it seems like that's how SIU seems to figure out their winning ways this year.
Yeah,
so
that definitely seems like the strongest case for us. Well, right now we're going to go ahead and talk to Sam Dodd and Sam DeJulio about their success with the women's soccer team, and then we'll cut to that at Saluki Space. Hello everyone, welcome back to Saluki Space. I'm obviously your host, Cole Daly. This is my co-host, Joey Bernard, and we're here with forward Sam Dodd and defender Sam DeJulio on the SIU women's soccer team, and we're here to ask them some questions, of course, with Saluki Space. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, of course, first. Just dive right in. Would you mind telling us exactly how hard it is not to laugh when Coach Roberts yells at you in a British accent? It's got to be tough.
I mean, honestly, my coach from club was from the UK, so I'm kind of used to being around accents.
Oh, yeah.
But he has I don't know, it's kind of particular. I don't know it, because it's kind of hard to laugh when he's mad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that would come off really bad if I started laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Especially.
I was gonna say, I feel like I don't even really hear him when we're on the field, which sounds so bad, but I'm so hyper focused in the game. But
we you black out.
Yeah, but I would say our assistant coach Matt probably has the thickest accent.
Yes. They all have different accents, but Matt's is very yeah.
Nice. And then, so which one of you is Coach Roberts' favorite Sam? Would you mind answering that? That's very important.
Her.
Oh,
Yeah, I would say me. Her.
No, it's her.
But why would you say that?
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know. I feel like you two joke around a lot.
We joke around a lot. We have this ongoing joke. It actually came from the Daily Egyptian. There was an article written or something, and I guess in the article it kept saying Sam Dodd said. So he literally called me that for the next couple months. He was like, "Hey, Sam Dodd said," or "Hey, Sam Dodd said," and then we have good jokes, but.
Yeah.
I still think she's the favorite Sam.
We're just strictly business.
Yeah.
So we'll go we'll dive each other up, but they're more of a.
I gotcha.
For sure. And then still going off the Sam stuff, I just kind of wanted to know, I'm sure it's based off of last names, but how does he differentiate between the two Sams?
Oh my gosh. Actually, just the other day in practice, he gave a lineup, and he was Sam, and then he called her Sam D, but we're both Sam D.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, so I'm playing forward today.
And I was I'm back.
No, it is. He'll call her Dodd.
Sometimes he'll say
Sam.
sometimes he'll say Sam Dodd.
Yeah.
And you're just Sam. Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty. And then, favorite place to eat in Carbondale? A lot of good options.
For me, I actually just went Chango's. It's weird because when I first had it, when I first had it, I thought it was so gross. I was a huge Chipotle girl, but we don't have that here, obviously. So
Yeah.
You know I love Chipotle.
Yeah.
But yeah, first time I had Chingos, I just don't think I ordered the right thing, but I got my order down now and I really like it.
I would say I just had Harbo's this morning for breakfast, so I'm gonna put that one.
I've actually still never had that yet. Granted, I'm only a sophomore, but still, I haven't had it.
Wow, I feel like that's just a staple.
I know, I gotta get to it.
I think it's better than Sunny Street.
I do too.
Oh really? Yeah, you've had it just.
Their French toast. Have you had the French toaster?
Peak.
Yeah.
I actually don't like
It's good vibes too.
What is going on with
I
you?
just don't like French toast. That's just how I am. What can I say?
What?
All right. So, what was it like playing for a team that hadn't won a game in over 2 years? Now we're really doing it.
Yeah, wow. You're just really
hard hitting.
cutting in there.
Oh, yeah.
It's really fun. Where do you like to eat? Okay. So what happened?
Okay, so on my end, I was a transfer from UW Milwaukee,
Mhm.
and at Milwaukee, they ended up, they won their conference, the last couple years, so, I got to win a ring with them, I redshirted, so I didn't play, but I was still on the team, and so, we went from winning every game, the winning culture was so huge, and then, I came here, and it was frustrating, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, there was many games where I just would cry my eyes out after,
Mhm.
but, I just try to stay positive just because, like, I know we all work so hard and, like, the circumstances weren't the best. Like, obviously, we wouldn't have chose that. And, you know, what really helped me, like, get through it was just, like, my teammates because, like, you want to work hard for them because, like, you love them so much. But, yeah, it was definitely frustrating and kind of, like, embarrassing. But yeah, that's kind of.
I was gonna say it was draining.
Yeah.
Like I've been here since freshman year. I'm an OG with the original group. And
OG DeJulio. So they call you, right?
Yeah. It's a nickname going around town. No, it was draining, and I would go off of what you said. Like I would not be here still if it wasn't for the girls on this team. And so I think we just needed the right coach because it's the same group for the past 3-4 years now. We always had the talent. We just had to figure
There was, like,
put the pieces
Yeah,
together.
Craig would always say, like, there was, like, a missing puzzle piece.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess he's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it seems like he is.
There were many games I was crying. Especially last season. I was like, oh.
It's just,
longer.
And, like, I had one professor, and every day I'd walk in. So, did you guys win? In front of the whole class. So, did you guys win today finally? Did you guys win today finally? And every time I'd walk into class, my face gets, like, bright red, and I'm like, I know you saw the score already.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me?
But it seems like you guys have kind of found that spark this year so far. So what has been kind of the change, I guess, or has there even been a specific change that you can like recall back to?
I would say honestly the coaching staff, they brought in like a whole new energy and they have the championship culture, and so I think that's like the biggest thing that's changed.
I would agree. Like we went from, you know, having like being led by like a GA majority of the year last year, and now we have a full coaching staff. Like we have 3 coaches, a goalie coach, a GA, and we have a female coach, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's a good balance, you know. We have Alyssa, who's super like relatable, super nice to us. And
She's like a mom.
Yeah, she really is like a mom. Like she made us like homemade chocolate chip cookies the other day.
Yeah.
Like, she sends me like her banana bread recipes.
Yeah.
And then Craig, he's like, you know, the head, and he's not like, he's really relatable too, honestly. Like they're all really relatable. So I feel like just having like the right structure, and it's nice to have coaches that actually like want to like win and like you feel really cared about.
Yeah.
And then kind of more DeJulio, because I know that you've obviously been there for the right
It's okay,
years.
yeah.
You started with your OG DeJulio. We already established. Take me through like each year, like what were you thinking? Like you probably started, you guys won a couple of games,
Yeah.
and you think, okay, it's going up. And then obviously the last 2 years happened a little bit rough, we're just gonna be honest here, you know. Just give me your thoughts on how it all just kind of went through.
So freshman year, obviously, we were all young, and that was like I feel like we used that as an excuse or like a crutch almost.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, we're young, we're a new group, but it was still exciting. We did have a couple of games, and then obviously COVID hit, and then we got to play that season, and that was our first season in conference, and that was rough.
Yeah.
I think we were not ready.
Plus the COVID, right?
But no, last year was, I think, like, I will say this wholeheartedly, probably my worst season like of soccer, like just like enjoyment wise, and I think but it taught me a lot about myself, and I think it taught the team a lot too.
Yeah.
And so we don't really take this season for granted, especially like senior year. Like this season means so much, I think, for everybody.
And there's like 15 seniors, so
Yeah.
like we owe it to them.
So it seems like after that second game, kind of, it was almost, you had a week off, I know, and then there was like almost a spark, and now you guys are on an undefeated streak here. A couple ties, couple wins. Was there just like almost a talk by coach that has kind of just ignited that way? Was it a talk amongst the seniors maybe to just start something there, or was it anything specific like that at all? Just start this undefeated streak?
I mean, in my opinion, I think we honestly just started to like believe in each other more, and like we had more confidence. Like she said, like it's been like the same girls majority of this time, like of us being here, and it's like we finally are just like believing in ourselves. Like we have confidence, and we know like, oh wow, like we can actually like win these games, and like we're good enough. You know what I mean? Like the coaches have done a really good job with like enforcing that in our brains. So that's what I would say from my end. But
yeah, I think like our trust is really been built this year too. I think Craig gets after us in a good way, especially halftime yesterday when we were down 2-0, but we need that sometimes. Like we need that push. So
yeah, and they also like they've done so many things to like make us do team bonding, which has made us a lot closer.
Yeah.
You know, we've done talent shows. We did this like lantern send off where we wrote like our goals. We've eaten like all of our meals together in preseason.
Yeah.
I feel like we've just gotten a lot closer, and like I said, like we want to do good for each other.
Yeah.
So obviously now you guys are winning games. You guys are doing well. You know, are you guys staying humble in the locker room? Or are you like, you know, let's get after it? You know, does coach have to take you guys down a peg maybe, or maybe, you know, is it just been smooth sailing?
I mean,
no, I feel like we're pretty humble.
we are. We're very humble.
I think we know what it's like to be at the lowest.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now it's like we don't want to.
We don't want to get like, it's like knock on wood.
Yeah.
But like I in the locker room, like after we win, like, you know, like or on the field, like when the happy music comes on after, like of course we're all gonna be super hyped and like happy. But then like, you know, we have that day off on Monday, and then Tuesday comes, we go into it's back to focus. Like, you know, you celebrate it, but at the same time, it can always be better. And like, we have multiple things that we can work on every game. So we have good moments, but I definitely say we're pretty humble. We're humble. Yeah.
And then earlier you mentioned the lantern send-off thing. That's kind of like a team bonding thing in a way. What kind of like other things have you kind of done to like just do team bonding activities like that? What other stuff?
We did a whole lake day on Lake of Egypt, which was awesome. We were out there on jet skis.
Yeah, we were jet skiing, tubing, like.
Yeah, that was really fun. We did do all our meals together, and he made sure of that, which I think helped a lot too for the new transfers and new people.
Because we have a decent amount of transfers. But, and then the talent show was really cool. My talent was I made up a rap about the team.
Yeah, they roasted us.
Yeah, it was a roast. But we did this like crossbar challenge video thing. So we kind of, you guys like pick a partner and do this like little like skit, I guess. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done a lot. I mean, we're around each other all the time, so it's kind of like...
sometimes a little too much. I'm like, I love you guys, but oh my god.
Like, I mean, I love free food, but towards the end, I was like, all right, I'm ready to like... I'm ready to like cook and like at home, maybe. Yeah. But
Yeah, so you guys, back to your guys' kind of play on the field, you know, you guys are obviously improved in every category. Could you give me maybe what your guys' biggest strength is, you know, whether that's defense or on the offensive side? And then maybe the part of your guys' game that improved the most because of this coaching change.
You want to say?
I'm a type on them. The defense has been amazing this year. They really have. Like that back four has been super solid. Like I have like the utmost trust in them. Like if the ball, because you know as a forward, it's gonna get kicked over my head a lot. I don't even like worry because I know that they're gonna get it. Like they work so hard to get the ball out from the back, and you guys have been killing it. The biggest improvement, everything.
Every part of
Well, we've like this year we're working a lot on like tactical play. So each game we go into, we have like he has a plan for us, which we never had before, which I think is like a huge thing.
It is like
he's figuring out the midfield too.
The midfield,
which is it's starting to come together.
And just like shifting like different people in different positions. You know, like one game, Sam might have to go up top, like just because that's what we need. But like. Or I
highly doubt that.
Just
no,
like,
but he has been good. Like she talks about the back four. Like we've been switching our outside backs out because so many people play that position, and so now we finally like have it figured out with the four back there. And he moved Liz back up top, which I think has been a huge thing.
We needed that. I think
because she's been scoring and
assists. But definitely just the personnel but I'd say the defense has been rock solid this year.
Yeah.
And then not even just talking about what you guys have improved on the team, but more personally, what would you guys say you have improved upon so far this year?
Yeah, so originally at the beginning of the year, I was playing on the wing, the right side, but then they moved me to center forward, and I think I've gotten a lot better at, holding the ball up with my back face to goal, and just like my shot has improved. Like I'll go in for like individuals, which has helped a lot. But yeah, for me, I'd just say like knowing playing a true target forward, because I like to turn and like I like to dribble, but I sometimes need to realize like, all right, just chill out, you're good. But yeah, that's for me.
I would say having the confidence to go forward more. I'm also trying to make a couple runs to get a goal. So we'll see what happens this season. But
You got to get one before.
Yeah.
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Wait, I would probably cry.
I would literally just be done. I'd be like, sorry,
Just like
guys.
lay on the turf, like. That'd be awesome. No, you were kind of close yesterday. She made like all of a sudden I like look over and I see Sam just sprint next to me and I'm like, what the heck? Like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Matt loves it too much. But
Matt?
yeah.
What? Oh.
He'll always look at me and be like, you need to calm down. Stop
Yeah,
trying to go for
they encourage the wides to
Yeah.
go for it, but center backs like Paris and Sam like.
Yeah, Paris took off yesterday too. Both of us made runs
Paris
all the way
like had like some of the top shots of the game. We're like, how's our center back like leading shots right now? Like what?
There you go.
But yeah.
All right, so give me some thoughts on conference. You know, obviously things are going great when you're beating the Alabama A&Ms. You know, even like low level schools like SEMO. But you know, when you guys start gearing up for conference games, you know, it's got to be a whole different ballgame. So basically, how do you guys prepare for that?
I think we've actually just been super focused in each training. Like not one person is checked out or anything, which has been really good. We've had really good practices leading up to this first one, and I'm sure going forward it'll be the same.
Yeah, and like, you know, like the coaches do their job. They get us the scouting reports. They get filmed together for us. You know, like the coaches like literally will give us like, this is the number, like number 7 or whatever. Like you have to like make sure like this is what she's gonna do. So they prepare us really well for every game that we go into. And well, I guess we've never won a conference game, so that's gonna happen in the next game.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
Next game against Belmont, who they're new in the conference.
Yeah.
And just since we're talking about it now, I just kind of want to bring up, next game will be the midway point of the season, I guess. Can you just believe that it's like halfway through this year already? And
No.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I feel like preseason was a week ago.
Literally. But
Yeah.
I know, especially because I'm like, I only have so many more, like this is it. Like this is my last season. It's crazy. Like I know that last game we play UIC in Chicago, and I'm from Chicago, and I know I'm going to be right.
Oh yeah, of
As
course.
soon as it's done, I know.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, wow, that's time flies. I mean, I have exams this week, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I'm like, how are we already on week? Are we on week 5 or 4? 5. How are we already there? I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah.
But then I guess just going back to the last game, we talked about it a little bit earlier. You guys were down so early, and then found that late push for 2 goals. You got a goal, I believe, didn't you?
Yep.
But that was great.
Look at that.
Just I guess what's that like to just try to find that spark so late in the game? You guys are down on yourselves, I'm sure, and then you just found it somehow. How did you guys find it, I guess?
Literally, so Craig had subbed me out. Craig's our coach. He had subbed me out in the second half, and then I forget how much time was left on the clock, but he basically was like, we're gonna go put 4 on top and just go for it. Like he literally said that to me. He's like, we're just gonna go for it. So I literally like went in, and I think there was like less than 10 minutes left. All of a sudden I see like Riley like dribbling down, pass it to Liz, and I'm like, okay, we worked at this in practice, like, all right, like we literally been doing that exact play in practice where like you go end line and cut it back, and I'm like, all right, so I see Liz, and I'm like, I know Liz is gonna beat this girl because she's fast, like she's gonna beat this girl, and then I mean like, I just touched it and shot, and then like all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, like okay, like we need to like go, and then 2 minutes later we have a corner kick, and I never take corner kicks, but I was like, all right, like I'll take this corner kick, like. Wow, we have 2 minutes left on the clock. Kick it in, it's like bouncing, and I'm like, okay, holy crap, is it gonna go in? Like, and then I don't know. I think everyone's adrenaline was just crazy.
I was just gonna say, I knew like as long as we got 1, we were gonna get that second. Because me and Paris, we were in the huddle getting ready to go out for the second half, and we were like, for the first 10-15 minutes, like everybody press as hard as you can. Let's just go like balls to the walls the whole time, and we ended up doing it for the whole 45 minutes.
Yeah,
So
it happened so fast. Like I don't.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I just wish it would have came sooner. Like I wish we would have got that spark.
We almost had that third one too, which I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I am proud of like how we, came back from like being down.
Yeah, if it was any other season, that would not have happened.
Yeah, like we really worked till the whistle. I mean, as we always do, but you know.
Yeah, even more so. I get you.
Yep.
So where do you guys see yourselves comparatively in the conference? Stacked up against all the rest of the other teams. And then, are there any specific games heading forward that you guys have circled? That you're like, okay, they beat us real bad last year. We want to really show them what this new team's like.
I feel like every game, honestly.
Is all of them?
Yeah, because I feel like everyone's counted us out for the past couple years now, and now it's like, okay, we can do this. Like, let's go show.
Kind of like put some respect on our name. Like,
we're the underdog. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, in my opinion, like I'm excited for every game. Like we all had the same goal. Like we want to go into this game and win. Like there's not really a specific team or game that's like circled, I guess, in my book, but. I just want to win every game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's pretty much all the questions that we have for you guys. Really appreciate you guys doing this with us. Once again, I'm Cole Daly. This is Joey Bernard. We're both editors here at the Daily Egyptian. SIU soccer players Sam Dodd, Sam DeJulio. Make sure to wish Sam DeJulio a happy late birthday. It's actually your birthday right now. Clap it up for Sam. Everybody. And and we'll catch you next time on Saluki Space. Appreciate it.
Cool.
So, all right, now we end the show with our Told You So segment where we talk about college football and NFL picks that we have to make. I did pretty well this last weekend. I mean, granted, it was 2 weekends ago, but I went 4-3. I did predict Bama would beat Texas. That one hurts my heart. It really does. Texas fan over here, but... Then Arkansas beat South Carolina, which I predicted. Wake Forest would beat Vandy like I predicted. I did predict Houston over Texas Tech. Wrong on that one. I predicted Pitt over Tennessee. Wrong on that one. Tennessee won. And then I did predict Kentucky over Florida. You were even hesitant on that one because Anthony Richardson looked like that guy clearly after these past 2 weeks. I don't know if he's that guy anymore. We'll definitely be sure to talk about that.
I'll admit I was a little bit wrong on that one.
Yeah, and then we had... BYU upsetting Baylor like I didn't predict. I should have, something I didn't fail to consider, it was at Provo, and when BYU's playing at Provo in a night game, that's really, really rough. So then games this week to look out for, we have Baylor and Iowa State. This one's a weird one because Baylor really let me down in that BYU game. I mean, I stayed up until 1 a.m., watched that game. It was a very, very late night game. They did not look great. I'm going to be honest. They couldn't even throw the ball against anything. I'm not sure. I thought Blake Shapen was really going to be, that guy this year. He's kind of proved me wrong in that. Iowa State is at home. They have a good running attack. They're a very, very solid team. They are favored, which I don't know because Baylor is ranked. But this one's weird, but I want to go Baylor on this one. What are your thoughts?
It seems like the Baylor rush attack is going to be the one that's going to try to be their saving grace against Iowa State. So I would probably pick Baylor too, just because of that rush attack. But I think it'll be a good matchup though. And also Baylor's ranked number 17. Iowa State's not, so
yeah,
without a doubt.
It definitely gives them an advantage there. And then, Minnesota and Michigan State. This one's almost weird for the opposite reasons. I'm liking Minnesota. I didn't like what I saw from Michigan State, but Michigan State's home. But Minnesota is still a road favorite, which is kind of a surprise, especially with a Big Ten school. That being said, I love Minnesota this year. They're bounced back. That year with PJ Fleck where they almost contended against Ohio State a couple of years ago. I loved that team. Absolutely loved them. Loved PJ Fleck. Fell in love with Tanner Morgan, Mohamed Ibrahim. That's quarterback and running back for Minnesota. Michigan State put up a stinker against Washington last weekend. There's no other way to put it. This one's weird, but once again, sneaky road win for Minnesota. I think the numbers got this one right. Any thoughts?
I think that offense for Minnesota is just too high-powering for Michigan State to kind of handle. I think they'll be playing catch-up most of the game against that Minnesota offense, so I definitely want to.
Yeah, they proved they couldn't keep up with high-powered offenses like they did against Washington last week. They got blown out of the water. This one, I'm definitely going to be tuning into this one. This is a sneaky good game, I think. Kansas State at number 6 Oklahoma. Now, what you could say is, okay, Kansas State just lost to Tulane last week, 17-10, and you're right. That's a rough look. But in all honesty, this could be a trap game for OK. I mean, Adrian Martinez is essentially the Carson Wentz of college football. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Sometimes he puts together a great game, and then he throws picks where you're like, what the hell are you even doing? It doesn't make any sense. Deuce Vaughn, though. Deuce Vaughn is that guy. He lit up legend. He lit up SIU last year. That's what you mean by SIU legend. really, he's probably one of the best, easily in the top 5 of playmakers. I still think Oklahoma pulls it out because they're at home. If this was a road game at K-State, I'd be trying to pick the upset here. But since it's at Boomer Sooner, I just don't see a way. I don't see a way that they can pull it off, but I'd love to see that as a Texas fan myself. All right, and then up in our next game, we have Duke versus Kansas. Should have been college game day. They made it a boring SEC game. This is 2 basketball schools going at it. We love to see it. I'm a Duke basketball fan. You guys will come to learn that in the winter time.
Butthurt about that.
I think Duke hires Mike Elko, the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M. Come on, make it fun. We want to go to Kansas. They're both 3-0. When's the last time that Duke and Kansas have been 3-0? I'll give you the answer: never. So I love this game. I'm going to be a little biased in my pick here. I like Duke. I've watched Duke football. I've also watched Kansas football. I think Kansas is going to be really high on themselves after just beating Houston and Texas Tech. Duke's beaten quality teams too, including Northwestern. And that quarterback, Riley Leonard, the quarterback for Duke, he's great. I really like the way that he moves around the field. He kind of reminds me of like Duke Daniel Jones. Now, NFL Daniel Jones, you're going, okay, what are we even getting with that? But in college, you got to remember, Daniel Jones was that guy. So I really hope that they win. That also being said, Jalen Daniels he's quarterback for Kansas. Is also really good. Kansas probably has the more filled out team. I mean, I'm talking about it like I'm just picking Duke as a bias pick. This is actually kind of a coin flip game. I really keep your eyes on this one. It's definitely a fun one. Any thoughts?
So they probably think that Jalen Daniels is just going to go off against Duke. That's why it's not college game day.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong. But I think people are really going to, if people do turn into that game, Riley Leonard's actually going to surprise some people. And I think that they got a high-powered offense. They got a better defense. Mike Elko's done a good job. Kind of like, you're seeing with Craig Roberts in SIU women's soccer. You could say like that.
Good comparison.
Yeah, exactly. Then this is the college game day pick with number 20 Florida and 11 Tennessee. Turns out Anthony Richardson's not that guy we thought he was. Definitely isn't. It kind of hurts because I loved watching him in that Utah game. We obviously know that I was talking about that and saying there was a potential for something to happen. But, Anthony Richardson, not that guy. I wish we could have seen more of the Utah game, but he's clearly gone. He has more tackles than he does passing touchdowns, and that's off of interceptions.
Kind of
so
pathetic.
It's kind of rough. Tennessee, I think the Tennessee hype is getting a little dramatic. People are just like, Josh Heupel's the guy. I'm still not a big Josh Heupel guy. That being said, Hendon Hooker is a really, really good QB. They have a lot of really, really good weapons. They've kept a lot of those recruits after their previous coach got caught up in a scandal. I like Tennessee just because I don't even know how Florida's still ranked, honestly. They just don't look that good.
They won't be ranked after this week, though.
Yeah, I don't see a way in which that happens. And then finally, this is probably my favorite game of the week, Arkansas and Texas A&M. Arkansas is the underdog in this game. I don't know how. Texas A&M did change their QB from Haynes King to Max Johnson, which was definitely a good move. I don't know if you watched Texas A&M up to that point, but Haynes King can't throw the football. I mean, he's running like Malik Willis in the NFL out there. He can't, there's nothing that he can really do that's going to help them. And it was supposed to be his team last year. He gets hurt. Zach Calzada comes in. It's just been really, really messy for Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher, I'd put him on the hot seat a little bit. I know he's bringing in these top recruits, but going 7-5 and 8-4 every year is just not that fun. Texas A&M is at home. They do have the 12th man, very good home fan base, but Arkansas has KJ Jefferson, Raheem Sanders. The only thing about Arkansas that really worries me is that they have these weird keeping teams that shouldn't be in games with them. They keep them in games. I mean, they kicked South Carolina's butt 2 weeks ago, but this last week they played Missouri State. And Missouri State's definitely going to tough out for SIU this year. There's no doubt about that. But it's an FCS school. This is a top 10 ranked SEC team, and they had to wait until the fourth quarter to beat Missouri State. So that really worries me. I love Arkansas's team this year. I already mentioned Rocket Sanders and KJ Jefferson. Any thoughts on that?
I think just the 12th man for Texas A&M is probably going to make it a bit harder for Arkansas to stay in the game a little bit. And I mean, like you just had my point earlier, they played down to a lot of their opponents.
Yeah.
So I really wouldn't be surprised if Texas A&M came out with the win just
I'd
because
really
it's
be
at
surprised.
home and everything.
Well, and that's the thing is, Texas A&M does look better with Max Johnson. They played Miami last week. they won that game. Still, it doesn't look like they can move the ball very much. It doesn't look like anything. To me, Texas A&M is just like, it's the same thing every year. It's the same product. Once again, that's me coming from a Texas fan where everybody goes, oh, we're back. This is the year. We always hear the same thing about all the Texas schools, but it's ridiculous with the point of Texas A&M where I just don't think that they've really put anything together. All their players are still too young to really make that much of an impact. Give me Arkansas, but it might be close because of the home field. That's really the only thing that I could think of. And then just real quick, Heisman Trophy odds have been updated. C.J. Stroud's the favorite still, which you can see how that is. He puts up numbers. Personally, I'm an anti C.J. Stroud guy. I don't think he's that great. I mean, he's definitely great. To call him outside of the top 7 is ridiculous. People are even going to be mad at that number. But I think that, when you really watch the games against Notre Dame, he puts up these stats against Kent State, Toledo, and all these schools that they play then, and he puts up stats against Maryland and stuff like that. But when he played Notre Dame, I mean, he wasn't good in that Michigan game last year. He wasn't good in the Oregon game early in the year last year. I don't love C.J. Stroud. I might ruffle some people's feathers. I don't love him. My pick this year for Heisman is the second best in the odds, Caleb Williams. He's been putting up tons of stats against Fresno State, Stanford.
Watch that game.
He's a good player, and he obviously kicked Texas's butt last year. That's why I am definitely a believer in him, because he really went off against my team, and I just think Caleb Williams is that guy. The narrative fits if he brings USC back and they have some sort of incredible 11-1 season. That's that thing. But a guy to keep your eye on is J.J. McCarthy, who didn't start out the year starting, but after the Michigan fan base was like, all right, get Cade McNamara out of here. He's, Cade leaves something to be desired. It's very much like, I guess I'd call it before the season of the Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. Compared to, now that we've seen Trey Lance, we don't know exactly how good he is, but J.J. McCarthy really, really looks good. There's a chance that he runs away with it and makes Michigan a real contender for not only the playoff, but maybe even the championship. I know it's a lot to say, but I like Michigan this year behind J.J. McCarthy.
I really love the Caleb Williams pick. I mean, I watched that Stanford game. He looked poised and confident in the pocket and everything. I mean, rushing, he looked amazing too. 4 touchdowns, I know, in his last game as well, and then the Stanford game before that. There's no reason why he can't continue his
dominance on the field.
Yeah, dominance on the field.
Yeah.
With his 4 touchdown performances that he's had the past couple weeks, I mean, he
just lights it up. He throws a good ball. He can run around. I really like him a lot. I mean, Bryce Young, there's going to be all that stuff because he's going to put on a show at Alabama, but to repeat, it's just so hard to do that, and Alabama does look a little bit depleted this year. I'm not saying the end of the Alabama dynasty, but watch out for that. Just watch out for that. We'll look back on this 5 years from now. Maybe I'll be right. Maybe I could be as wrong as possible.
End of the Alabama dynasty.
I'm not saying that right now, but I'm just saying it's kind of winding down. You're not seeing the wide receiver room's getting a little weaker. Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator, I don't like that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Well, so yeah.
What a way to end Cole's college segment.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like I said, I'm not calling it. Don't lock this one in, but just saying, just keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on it.
Moving on to the NFL this week. I was not very good with my picks on the last podcast. I went 2 for 3. I nailed my Chargers pick over the Raiders, and then I nailed my Bills pick over the Rams. But the rest of my picks, my Packers did not do me very well. After that, against the Vikings, that was not... Cole was right with me for that week.
Oh, was I?
That week. But I got something else I might come back with you later that I was right on, too.
Yeah, I know what this
But
is.
as we move into the games this week, we just watched 2 amazing Monday night game performances. One of them was the Bills. They absolutely clobbered those Titans.
Expected that one.
Without a doubt. And they were at home, too. I mean, it was just recipe for disaster against those Titans. I would not want to be playing the Bills right now. But they're going to travel to Miami against the Dolphins. Both of these teams have high-profile offenses.
This is probably going to be my favorite game to watch.
Without a doubt, for sure. But I have no idea why it's a noon game. I wish they would have that
Seriously?
in like prime time. This will be a good one for sure.
Seriously, yeah.
But both of them coming off 41 and 42 point performances. Tua, the comeback against the Ravens.
Are you a part of 2 and on or no?
I don't know if I'm on the bandwagon yet, but I do love all that I saw last week against the Ravens. I mean, he's got weapons now, Waddle and Hill.
Big time weapons.
Gesicki is even like another one you
Gesicki
can rely
did
on
good.
too. So, I mean, this is going to be a good matchup.
They got a
to see.
high-powered offense, that's for sure.
And without a doubt, I think the defenses in this one are just going to have to figure out ways to at least limit some of those weapons. But I think the Bills are probably too much of a powerhouse on that defense.
Last year, the Bills' defense has looked insane. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they've never exactly been weak in past years, but they look like Georgia defense against other schools in the
just an
college
entirely
football.
different league. I mean,
Yeah, they're stopping everybody at the line of scrimmage. They're not letting passes get through. Granted, Mike McDaniel's a good guy, but sorry, you were saying.
Oh, you're good. So the Bills, the defense kind of made Derrick Henry look utterly useless last night, which is kind of shocking, especially for fantasy owners. I mean,
Yeah.
that was weird. He did get a touchdown though, but that was 1 yard touchdown. He only had I think like 30 rushing yards ish.
Not impressive
Wow.
performance.
I mean, just I don't know an answer for that Bills defense or just the Bills in general. Everything is turning for them right now, so I have to go Bills. I think it'll be 34-21. It probably will be a bit more high scoring than that, but I just think the Bills and their defense is just going to clobber that Dolphins offense for most of the game. I think a lot of those points for the Dolphins are going to probably come late as they try to make a comeback effort again, like last week against the Ravens. But 34-21 is what I got for Bills over the Dolphins.
Yeah.
My next game, I absolutely think is another intriguing one. Two teams going in the opposite direction than the last game that we were talking about with Bills Dolphins. It's Raiders versus Titans. Now the Titans were the ones that the Bills clobbered last night, only bringing up 7 points, and they benched Tannehill, which isn't necessarily that surprising. But I don't know if I'm the biggest Malik Willis fan from what I saw last night. Granted, the Bills defense is just really hard to jump right in there in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's a lot. So maybe with a week prep, Malik Willis might. And we don't even know if Malik Willis is going to start yet, so we'll see about that later.
They might have just been throwing him in because they were up.
For sure. And but we'll see how that ends up turning out with Tannehill or Malik Willis. The Raiders, last week, they didn't really utilize Devontae how I would have liked to see them. So we'll just have to see they come up with a game plan to get him the ball more. I don't really know why. They got the best receiver in the league and haven't been using him. So I'd love to see that Devontae and Carr connection. It was just weird last week.
Yeah, last week was definitely weird. Week 1, they kind of really played well, but this last week, it was like, is there something? Maybe they were hitting him with a lot of double, triple coverages. I know Darren Waller, didn't he have a pretty good week on that day? But even still, you got to feed Devontae. You got to find ways to get him open. That's on the coach. You got to scheme stuff up where you're getting Devontae the ball most of the time.
Without a doubt, and they ran through Josh Jacobs throughout the day as well over the Cardinals. So. We'll see if they continue that over against the Titans. But my pick, I'm going to be picking the Raiders, 24, Titans, 17. It'll be intriguing to see the Titans at home, but I think the Raiders will pull it out just because the Titans, they don't really have a lot of morale right now. Granted, they do have a really amazing head coach in Mike Vrabel that I think will probably bring them out of the gutters eventually throughout the year. Just I don't think it's going to be this week.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. This is Cole's Battle of the Turds pick, I think. I really just... The Raiders look garbage. You can't give up that lead to the Cardinals. The Cardinals aren't even that... they didn't even look good for, 7 quarters now? They had one good quarter against you. You let that awful, awful play happen. I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders heading into the year. I like them more than I'd probably say I like the Broncos, so I could still see them finishing 3rd in the AFC West, but... Man, you blow that to the Cardinals, and then the Titans just blowing one to the Giants week 1, and then you come back. Granted, it's the Bills, and it's the Bills at home, so I'm not going to give them too rough of a thing. The only problem is they got blown out. And when I say blown, they put Malik Willis in halfway through the 3rd quarter. They gave up. They didn't want anything to do with the Bills. I'm not saying that you still have to have Ryan Tannehill throwing 30-yard seeds, because I don't even think he can do that, but... Still, Titans don't look good. Raiders don't look good. I like your pick. I'm going with the Raiders too, but man, oh man, this game hopefully will be a good one to watch.
If you're a Titans fan, I'd almost start to worry now because it doesn't really look like playoffs are in the picture, maybe.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing, the AFC South's getting interesting. Jacksonville's looking like the best one. Indiana's looked awful. And then Texans, I like them sneakily. They could sneak up on a couple teams, kind of like the Lions last year, but...
Might pull off a couple upsets.
Yeah, might pull off a couple upsets, keep things close. They did that with the Broncos last week. Granted, I don't know what to think about the Broncos so far, but still, Titans definitely isn't looking good for them right now, and I don't know if they come away with the AFC South like they have previously.
It'd be interesting to see the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to my next game. My Packers are going to be traveling over to Tampa Bay. Rodgers versus Brady. That's a big matchup. This will be number 4 in that matchup. Brady's got the best of Rodgers 2 times out of the 3. 2 in a row, actually. The last 2 times that they played, Brady's won. But both defenses are actually riding high right now. The Buccaneers were kind of swarming over that Saints offense last week, and then the Packers just absolutely clobbered the Bears, only letting Justin Fields get 70 yards passing with an interception. That was swarming for him. I thought I would have seen more from Justin Fields, but that Packers defense, pass rush specifically, amazing. Rodgers looked like he's kind of found his groove with a couple wide receivers. No wide receiver had more than 3 catches last week for Green Bay. So I think the plan is to just spread the ball out and get it to Dillon and Jones. Let them do their thing.
Not Dillon, but Jones actually really cooked last week, which was
Fantasy.
Helpful for my fantasy team.
Fantasy league. And then another note that I just found out last night, actually, Bucs' number 1 receiver, Mike Evans, he's going to get suspended for this game. They had a little altercation with the Saints. So, just for the game, though. But, it might be the edge that Green Bay needs to
they'll be missing it
a road win, for sure. And like I said, that defense is just rolling right now. It's another advantage for that defense without another receiver to worry about. So it's going to have to be Godwin and Julio Jones for Brady to rely on. And Brady has not looked the best this year either. Granted, he's getting up there in age. Slow starts are kind of his thing, I feel like. They'll probably run a lot with Fournette, I feel like. And it'll be a test to see if that Packers run defense is going to stop Fournette. I think that'll be kind of the game plan, or the game changer, I should say, that is going to decide who's going to win this game. But I'm going to go Green Bay. What is my pick here? I'm going to go Green Bay 26, Bucs 23. I think the Packers offense does just enough to kind of slip out the win over the Bucs. I feel like it might be a late push by Brady with the field goal, but I think the Packers defense might stop them late.
Yeah, I think the Packers, they really have probably... The Packers, they lost week 1 to the Vikings, which I did get correct, but the Packers probably have a better team than the Vikings. After watching the Vikings against the Eagles, I think the Packers are definitely more competitive in that game. Packers always kind of have a rough week 1. Tom Brady, yes, he pulls out that win against the Saints last week, but you see him on the sidelines throwing stuff, there's everything. He's like, my wife and I are living apart. I'm upset. There's everything going on for him right now. I'm worried we're going to see the Tom Brady like the Patrick Ewing or Hakeem Olajuwon on the Spurs or Raptors or weird teams at the end of the career. Like, we're going to see the Tom Brady fall off period this year where he might even retire by like week 7. I know it's a crazy thing to say, but
week 7.
Like, he might just say, screw it. We're lost to the Packers. We lose a couple of these extra games. Most of his offensive line's hurt. The defense is great. That's the thing that's keeping them in this game and them being home. So I think it's somewhat close, but I like the Packers too. I really, really like the Packers in this game.
That reminds me of the Bills player that retired at halftime. I can't even remember his name,
yeah,
but I know there was a Bills player.
Something like that. Tre'Davious White. Vontae Davis, that had to have been. We'll check after. We'll
have to see. But that'll be an interesting game. Just Rodgers Brady. It's 3:25 start on Fox. I wish it was prime time because it's Rogers Brady should always be primetime in my opinion.
That's true.
Without a doubt. Two of the best
100% true.
QBs to ever play. But picking Packers.
Yeah.
Moving on, another intriguing game, I think, Rams-Cardinals. The Rams are not really in the right direction right now. Stafford, I feel like, is kind of holding them back, and that Falcons game last week kind of made me worry about them.
That was a weird Falcons game where they were up big, and then they let the Falcons come back. Usually it's the Falcons letting other teams come back. This time the Falcons actually did find a way to crawl back. But
there's a screenshot, I know I saw it on Twitter, of the 28-3 meme, of course, but the Falcons were down 28-3 this time.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
And they almost came back and won it if it wasn't for Marcus Mariota. I genuinely feel like if they had any other quarterback in the league, they might have pulled out the win over that, and the Rams would be starting 0-2, and everything would be, the sky would be falling for the Rams. But because they hung on and Jalen Ramsey caught that pick, I mean, they won the game. They're 1-1 right now. They pulled out that one. That makes me worried for them, though. Stafford has 5 picks already on the season.
That's
yikes.
Way too many.
Granted, one of those was against the Bills, or actually 2 of those, I should say, were against the Bills week 1.
Did he have 3? Did he have 3?
He had 3. You're right. You're right. He had 3 against the Bills.
He was so terrible in that game. I mean, obviously he's a great quarterback, but God, he looks so rough. Maybe it had something to do with his elbow. He's been dealing with an elbow injury, but yeah, he was just throwing it to the defenders of that game.
The Lions are starting to bleed into him now after
a
little over a year being over in LA. But and then Cam Akers not being as useful as he used to be. I think that there's kind of a curse with Achilles injuries I've seen, and I think it's starting to kind of get up to him. So they're going to have to start to rely on Darrell Henderson. I don't know how reliable he is as a running back.
Yeah, he's probably bottom 5 in terms of starting backs for me in the league. I don't like that Darrell Henderson.
Not
relying on him. Yeah.
Yeah, not really the biggest
somebody else
fan of him for sure. But and then talking about the Cardinals, I guess Kyler Murray. He's the real deal in the fourth quarter when he needs to be. I mean, he looks like a toddler running around out there like he stole something from his parents, but I mean, he can get it done for sure. Yeah. So I kind of believe in Kyler Murray. I was really considering picking the Cardinals just because they were at home, but I guess I just believe more in the Rams, a powerhouse, and all the big names they have on defense. I think they're going to keep Kyler Murray in check. Maybe keep him in the pocket. I feel like that'd be the plan. Because he's most useful whenever he's outside of the pocket. And then, I'm just going to pick Rams 30, Cardinals 24.
Yeah, this one's really kind of a coin flip for me, too. I don't like what I've seen from the Rams. I definitely don't like what I've seen from the Cardinals. But Rams usually fare well against the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. I mean, you saw that playoff game. I can't remember whether it was a year ago, 2 years ago, where they really laid it on him. And granted, that's late in the season. We know how Kyler gets late at the end of the year. But, I heard something this week. I was listening to a podcast, The Ringer. If you haven't read or heard anything from The Ringer, definitely go check that out. But I think it was Bill Simmons who said that Kyler Murray is kind of like a basketball player. You kind of compare these guys to like when a basketball player just kind of takes over a game, there are quarterbacks who can kind of emulate that. Where it's Kyler Murray just kind of has that John Morant, I'm going to put on 30 points kind of effect. Like, he did that against the Raiders last week. He was like, all right, fine, I'll do my little, like you said, toddler taking something from his parents, something like that. He was running around. He was doing everything that they needed to. And Kyler Murray throws a beautiful, beautiful ball. This is early Kyler Murray. I want to make it clear, I don't like the Cardinals this year. I don't think they make the playoffs. But this is a weird one against the Rams. They're at home. My heart's telling me to go with the Cardinals, but my brain is like, all right, the Rams aren't that bad, right? Once again, this could be a coin flip. I think you're totally right.
And I don't know if I trust the Cardinals' defense necessarily.
That's true.
I was just looking at some of their stats. They have 1 sack on the season so far by J.J. Watt.
They're missing. Didn't Chandler Jones leave this year? I'm pretty sure he left for Raiders. Yeah.
From the Raiders. So I mean, that pass rush needs to figure something out against the Rams O-line if they want to have any chance in this game. I still feel like it'd be close, but my pick's going with the Rams.
Yeah.
So, and then the last game I'm going to talk about of the week, Cowboys and Giants. I feel like this is just interesting. Giants are 2-0 somehow, like magically out of the blue.
Kind of like I like Brian Dable. Brian Dable, I love that coaching hire. I thought it was good for the Giants. I want the New York teams to be back. I need something in New York to be good because the Yankees, they always choke. There's nothing you can really believe in with them. I I want the Giants. I want the Jets. I want the Knicks. I don't want Brooklyn. Brooklyn ain't New York. That doesn't count. That's
entirely
rough, but-
different place.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean, though. I want something to be good, so I want the Giants to really pull it together this year, and I think they pull it out to get the Cowboys. But you give me your take.
Well, I think Dable is the real deal, but I think this is finally the week that things start to come to reality for the Giants. The Cowboys' defense kind of looked good against the Bengals.
That's great. Micah Parsons.
Yeah, they were overloaded.
He had that basketball effect. He was just going out there. He just stopped everything that they were doing.
Right. They were overloading Joe Burrow. I think he had a couple picks against them. Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs really handed it to the Bengals offense. Joe Shiesty, your man. You love him.
Joe Burrow.
I love Joe Burrow as well, but I just know that defense can definitely.
I can't even blame it on him because the offensive line has looked even worse than last year. You spend that much money and then it looks worse. How? I hope that second half of the season they really pull it together because that team has so much talent for it just to be wasted. But there's no excuse on the defense either. You let Cooper Rush dominate you last week, so. What do I know? I'm rooting for you, Joe, if you're listening, which I know you are for sure.
There's something about Joey B's that just.
I guess so, yeah.
Kind of lights
Joey
a fire
Bernard
under
and
you,
Joey B. Yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
We'll see. But I think this will be a pretty low-scoring game, to be honest. I don't trust any of these offenses in here, and but I think that Cowboys' defensive firepower is just gonna be able to keep the Giants in check. Saquon's gonna have to be doing everything, probably passing and running and catching the ball. I just think the only path to victory is through Saquon for the Giants. So, and I think the Cowboys will come up with a plan to stop him solely. Force Daniel Jones to make some throws. I don't think he's passed 200 yards passing this year after only 2 games.
Daniel Jones, the Trey Lance injury definitely was the worst. I mean, that sucks that we don't get to see that. He's probably going to be out for the season. But what I really kind of wanted to happen, Trey Lance to kind of emerge, kind of give him some time, and then the 49ers kind of commit to him. And I really wanted Jimmy G to get traded to the Giants, have something work out there. Because I think Jimmy G, big Italian guy, he fits that New York Giants thing. And he just fits with that team, I think. I think it works.
I kind of like it, actually. With Dable, I think it kind of fits.
Yeah.
It fits.
But then, now Jimmy G's in San Francisco, and it really seems like, I don't know if you saw this, but the third quarter clip where Jimmy G gets tackled on a run, or maybe he gets sacked, and all the 49ers players are lifting him up and patting him on the helmet. We like you so much more than Trey Lance. I'm not saying that, but that's just what the camera captured. So, but yeah, I like the Giants in this game. I think the Cowboys pick isn't bad for sure. I like that, but I'm gonna defer on you just because I love Dable so much. He's really opened up Saquon. I mean, Saquon at this point would have definitely not the stats that he's had so far. I mean, you'd agree with that, right?
I know he's leading the league in rushing guards right now, so that's.
We've finally seen Saquon, who
I just hope he stays healthy.
Exactly.
Dear Lord,
that's the big worry.
Saquon makes the league better when he's healthy. So
100%.
We love that for him as long as he stays healthy. But I am going to pick the Cowboys this week. I just think that defense is just going to be overloading the box.
Is definitely. I've honestly been surprised by the defense. I thought it was just Micah Parsons alone. The reason I'm picking the Giants, I guess I should specify on that, is just because, once again, we have Saquon. The Giants' offensive line is so much improved. The reason that the Cowboys beat the Bengals last week is because that offensive line was so garbage. And Micah Parsons could just do whatever he wanted. So you have to look at it, and I think that they're going to have a better plan for stopping the Dallas defensive line. Like I said, I don't love Daniel Jones. I'm not going to come out here and say that I like Daniel Jones, but I think I probably like him a little bit more than Cooper Rush. So that's really it.
I think the way that the Giants might end up winning this one is if Cooper Rush shows some of his...
That's right. Cooper Rush is kind of magic. He showed a little bit of that magic in the Bengals game.
For sure. If Cooper Rush can pull it together, have the type of performance that he had last week, I think the Cowboys will kind of roll in this one. If he doesn't, Giants might keep it close, maybe even win, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But last thing I just want to get to, I want to look back at one of my own predictions that somebody told me that was kind of crazy and yet is starting to
come to
fruition right now. last week's podcast, I predicted Jalen Hurts to have an MVP type season. He wasn't my MVP pick, granted, but I believe that he had the tools and the off season in him to kind of put it together for an MVP type season. That was 2 weeks ago. Now, looking back on it 2 weeks later, Eagles 2-0, and last night he had an amazing game against the Vikings.
He did.
He really did. I think he was 26
I had the Vikings in that
31.
one, and I was proven wrong for sure.
Without a doubt. I mean, granted, I think it helped that Kirk Cousins in prime time. Just you can't trust him. Like I said too.
Kirk.
Jalen Hurts was just kind of doing it all last night. Jalen Hurts is just putting it together so far this year, and I think as long as he just continues doing what he's doing, what he did to the Vikings last night was MVP type stuff. So I just want to put that out there that we're kind of seeing that from him.
Okay,
and,
let's do this right now. So, what happens for Jalen Hurts to win the MVP? Because he looked much better. We're not going to argue that. But I mean, come on, Jalen Hurts. Are we going to say Tua's now going to be like an MVP guy? Like, they're just certain guys. I don't even think they can win it because they're just not that skilled. Maybe I'm going to just be swallowing my words in Week 10, but I'm just saying, what has to happen? The Eagles have to be what record? Jalen, he's got to probably dominate on both sides of the run game and passing game, which he has been doing. But do you think that this right now is enough for an MVP? I think it's really good. I really do. I've always been a big Jalen Hurts fan, but
I wouldn't call him the MVP favorite right now. I'm not saying that without a doubt. Honestly, I think it's probably Josh Allen.
Josh
no
Allen.
doubt.
Josh Allen's going to kill it. Patrick.
If the Bills kind of pull back and Josh Allen's performances aren't as good later in the year, and Jalen Hurts continues doing this, I saw a stat. He was 8 for 11 down the field when he passed it 10+ air yards.
Which we haven't seen from Jalen Hurts. We got to make sure that
we finally
he's definitely
saw
getting better. And you know what? Putting him as a top 12 QB like we talked about in the beginning, I don't think that's. I'll give him top 15 right now. I'll give him top 15. I'll have to look at my list and see where I got
what's
guys.
What's 3 spots? What's three more spots?
It's just that's room for I don't know.
Another day.
Yeah, I'll have to bring out the list sometime. But I did like what I see from Jalen Hurts. You're right. I'm gonna swallow my pride with this one. I didn't exactly see this in the future. I didn't exactly see Nick Sirianni putting it together for this Eagles team. Eagles have looked so good right now. They look like the favorite in the NFC, which I never thought I'd say for another 10 years because the NFC East, I mean, we know how garbage they are. But, yeah, Eagles just look awesome. The Eagles look awesome. They had a really awesome game against the Vikings. Like you said, Kirk Cousins in prime time, so they had an advantage there. But still, I had the Vikings pulling it out, and I thought, because I was more impressed with them, but
I don't think it's...
Fly, Eagles, fly, as they say.
I don't think it's unrealistic to think that the Eagles might get the 1 seed this year. And
they play in a bad division. I mean, that always helps. So.
Without a doubt. And I think Jalen Hurts has an easy path to probably low 3,000 passing yards, 1,200 rushing yards, and probably about 12 rushing touchdowns.
Which that's an incredible year. Like, that might even get him some MVP votes, you know.
I think it might get him a bit more than that.
Maybe we'll see at the end of the year. But I mean, yes, you're right. He really put on a show, and I really liked what I saw from the whole Eagles team, but especially Jalen Hurts. Yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it from us. This has been episode 2 of the Inside Sports Podcast. That's of course with the DE capitalized because that is where we are. I'm your host Cole Daly, and this is my co-host Joy Bernard, and we will see you next week. Be sure to check on Friday for when this gets posted.